story of a 13-year-old girl who had so much passion to succeed. A girl child with an enviable dream who wanted nothing but education. But you see, she was deceived by her father, who promised to train her in school.
Karena, today is your day, prepare yourself.
What exactly do you mean, Papa?
Today, my child, you will experience the surgical elimination of your sensitive female genital organs.
Circumcision? But I was supposed to return back to school today, you promised.
Yes, I know that I promised you, but I do not want you to get pregnant in school. The circumcision will deactivate every sexual urge in you and prevent you from promiscuity. That way, you will not fall prey to those sex-crazy dragons out there. Do not worry. As soon as the exercise is done, you will rest until the wound is healed before you go back to school.
The old women took me to the bathroom for the circumcision. A woman with a very big buttocks, carrying a weight I can't struggle to lift or throw away, sat on my chest. Two other women held my hands backwards. The other women held my legs with resolute force. The woman who did the circumcision sat on my lower abdomen. 6 of them held me down to do the circumcision. I shouted madly, "Ah!" I bled and fainted several times. It was the cruelest breed of genital cutting. Circumcision in Oweama was a suicidal journey of life. You either survive painfully or you die painfully. 4 other girls within my age band underwent the same circumcision ceremony that fateful day. 3 of them died in the process. One of them, my very good friend Ebimi, the only child and daughter of her parents, an orphan whose parents died in a boat mishap 2 years ago. I never returned back to school as promised. Instead, my father arranged a marriage ceremony for me to be married to a man old enough to be my father. But my passion to succeed was greater than the cruel dictations and tricks of my father. So, I ran away from home, while my father and his uncles were busy drinking to stupor, with expectations of making a fortune out of my marriage and circumcision. During my escape, I was kidnapped by 4 young men and thrown into a canoe. I shouted for help. The sound of my resistance would stay in the ears of the hearers for 4 days, but no one came to my rescue. My abductors had a leader. The leader gave orders to the other men to hold me down tightly and spread my legs. The next thing that happened was that he fell upon me pleasurably and deflowered me, while the other monsters watched the act with intense excitement. I was like a mosquito, slaughtered with a sledgehammer by my abductors. I was also forced to get married to this man, a man so brutal. One fateful morning, when I was sleeping, my husband, Dalbury, came and woke me up.
Woman, when will you get pregnant and bear this sickness?
But that is for God to decide, my husband.
But I have been sleeping with you ever since I got married to you. And you have not even had a miscarriage to console me for once. And you're here blaming God.
now you want to call me a barren woman, my husband. You want to call me a barren woman. You want to seek forgiveness from God because you forced a woman who had no interest in marrying you in the first place. Dowry opened his white palms and slapped me thunderously. I was beaten with ferocious alacrity. I was pushed. It was in the process of this brutal beating that I lost my 4 weeks old pregnancy. Days later, my husband died tragically. I was held responsible for the death of my husband by my in-laws. I was also asked to drink the water with which my husband's body was being washed. Challenging moment of my life, but I managed to drink the water to prove my innocence. One afternoon, when I was brooding about all that has happened to me, my sister-in-law from the city came to me. Karena, my dear sister-in-law, I am so sorry for all that has happened to you, especially those things my brother and mother did to you when your husband died. Believe me, they did it out of ignorance. But I have come to take you to Benin with me and also to sponsor your education so you can shine as bright as you want. Oh, my dear sister-in-law, you have just mentioned the burning desires in my heart. You talk as if you can read my mind. I cannot wait to go to Benin with you. My life has been a well-written drama of tragedy and tribulations. There's a point in the tide of life where men take decisions and light their candle of life. The time has come, and the stars have approved of it. So, I went to Benin with my sister-in-law.
Benin, I don't come on. I mean, heard the story before. Benin, I don't come on. I see Benin, I see Benin, I don't come on.
But little did I know that my so-called sister-in-law was an international sex contractor who wanted to take 8 girls, including I, for prostitution abroad. So, I ran to a nearby supermarket and hid myself there until the plane took off with the other girls. So, I came out of my hiding. I cried and cried and cried. Dear mom, village that truncated my educational aspirations, turned my father against me, made my mother wordless, gave men the power to beat me, to rape me, forced me into an unholy marriage, made my fellow women to betray me, and packaged me as a prostitute for exploitation abroad. When I was crying, a young man walked up to me. He asked me to tell him my story, but I initially refused. In the past, every attempt I made to trust people only brought me trials and tribulations. So, I initially refused to talk. But he pressed harder and harder until my mouth betrayed me. I started narrating my story, agonizing it with red-hot tears. But despite the fact that I had lived a miserable life, Dr. Daniel passionately took me home. He cleaned me up, and clear the spiky scars that crept into my face, heart and eyes. And then